Welcome to ZoomInData, your go-to channel for in-depth data engineering, analytics, and modern cloud technology interview preparation. In this video, we dive deep into the top 25 security and RBAC in Microsoft Fabric interview questions for 2025, updated as of January 2026. Perfect for data architects, security analysts, governance leads, and anyone preparing for Fabric administration, compliance, or enterprise deployment roles. We cover comprehensive security model, role-based access control, RBAC, workspace, item-level permissions, OneLake data protection, row-level security, RLS, Entra ID integration, encryption, auditing, least privilege, compliance, service principles, power by security propagation, and best practices, all explained in clear, interview-ready technical language to help you confidently ace your next interview. 1. How is security implemented in Microsoft Fabric? Microsoft Fabric implements a multi-layered security model combining identity management, access control, network isolation, data encryption, and governance features. Microsoft Entra ID, formerly Azure AD, serves as the sole authentication provider, supporting MFA, conditional access, and federated identities. Role-based access control, RBAC, at tenant, capacity, workspace, and item levels enforces least privilege principles across all workloads. Integration with Microsoft Purview provides unified data classification, sensitivity labels, and end-to-end lineage for compliance. 2. What is RBAC in Fabric? Role-based access control, RBAC, in Fabric is a permission framework that assigns predefined or custom roles to users, groups, or service principals at various scopes. Roles define allowed actions such as view, edit, administer, or manage across tenants, capacities, workspaces, and individual items. Permissions propagate hierarchically from tenant to capacity to workspace to item, with item-level overrides possible. Supports dynamic membership via Entra ID groups for scalable administration in enterprise environments. 3. How does RBAC control access in Fabric? RBAC evaluates permissions at runtime based on the user's effective role membership across applicable scopes. Workspace roles, admin, member, contributor, viewer, control item creation, editing, and viewing within the workspace. Item-level permissions allow granular overrides, such as read-only access to specific lakehouses or reports. Build and share permissions separate data preparation from report consumption for governed self-service. 4. What roles are available in Fabric? Tenant-level roles include Fabric Administrator and Capacity Administrator for global management. Capacity-level roles comprise Capacity Admin and Capacity Contributor for resource governance. Workspace roles are Admin, Full Control, Member, Create, Edit, Contributor, Create Only, and Viewer, Read Only. Item-level permissions extend with specific actions like Manage Permissions, Read Data, or Run Pipeline. 5. How does Fabric manage workspace permissions? Workspace permissions are assigned via Entra ID users, groups, or service principals with one of 4 predefined roles. Admins can manage membership, assign item-level overrides, and control external sharing settings. Permissions inherit to all items unless explicitly overridden at the artifact level. Dynamic group membership in Entra ID automates access based on attributes like department or role. 6. How does Fabric secure data in OneLake? OneLake data is encrypted at rest with Microsoft Managed Keys and supports Customer Managed Keys (CMK) via Azure Key Vault. Access controlled through Workspace, Item RBAC and propagated row, column level security from sources. Shortcuts to external storage inherit source permissions while applying Fabric governance overlay. Network isolation via private endpoints restricts traffic to approved virtual networks. 7. How does Fabric implement row-level security? Row-level security, RLS, uses DAX-based roles in semantic models to dynamically filter data based on USERPRINCIPALNAME, or custom logic. Fixed identity connection ensures consistent RLS evaluation in direct lake scenarios without performance impact. RLS roles tested via test as role feature before deployment to validate filtering. Propagates to downstream reports and exports for end-to-end enforcement. 8. How does Fabric manage identity and authentication? Authentication exclusively uses Microsoft Entra ID with support for MFA, passwordless, and conditional access policies. Service principals and managed identities enable secure application and pipeline authentication without user context. Guest users from external Entra tenants supported with B2B collaboration controls. Session management enforces idle timeouts and revocation on credential changes. 9. How does Fabric integrate with Azure Active Directory? Fabric leverages Entra ID for centralized identity management, group synchronization, and conditional access enforcement. Dynamic group membership automatically provisions, deprovisions Fabric access based on attributes. Entra ID app roles and enterprise applications enable custom integration scenarios. Audit logs flow to Entra ID sign-in logs and Microsoft Purview for unified monitoring. 10. How does Fabric handle data encryption? Data at rest encrypted with Microsoft Managed Keys by default. Customer Managed Keys available for compliance. Data in transit protected by TLS 1.2+ across all service endpoints and client connections. Transparent data encryption, TDE, and column-level encryption supported in warehouse scenarios. Key rotation and revocation managed seamlessly with Azure Key Vault integration. 11. How does Fabric manage access auditing? Unified audit logs capture all administrative, access, and data operations across Fabric workloads. Logs stream to Azure Monitor, Log Analytics, or event hubs for long-term retention and SIEM integration. Purview Activity Explorer provides searchable views of user actions on items and data. Tenant-level settings control logging granularity and retention duration. 12. How does Fabric support least privilege access? Granular item-level permissions allow precise control beyond workspace roles. Contributor role separates create from edit capabilities for controlled self-service. Service principals with scoped permissions enable automated processes without broad access. Regular permission reviews facilitated by Purview usage insights and admin reports. 13. How does Fabric manage security across workloads? Consistent RBAC model applies uniformly to Lakehouse, warehouse, Power BI, pipelines, and real-time intelligence. OneLake central storage ensures single security boundary for data across experiences. Sensitivity labels propagate from purview across all items and exports. Private endpoints and VNet integration isolate workloads network-wise. 14. How does Fabric protect sensitive data? Microsoft Purview information protection scans and classifies data with built-in or custom sensitivity labels. Labels enforce encryption, access restrictions, and DLP policies on exports and sharing. Column-level security masks or hides sensitive fields in queries and reports. Automatic classification rules run continuously on new data in OneLake. 15. How does Fabric manage conditional access? Entra conditional access policies apply based on location, device compliance, risk, and sign in context. Policies can block or require MFA for Fabric access from untrusted networks. Integration with Microsoft Defender for cloud apps adds session controls and anomaly detection. Granular targeting to Fabric app ensures specific protection without affecting other services. 16. How does Fabric support multi-tenant security? Tenant isolation ensures complete separation of data, metadata, and compute across organizations. Cross-tenant access via B2B collaboration with explicit guest invitations and permissions. Capacity isolation prevents noisy neighbor impact in shared infrastructure. Audit logs segregated by tenant for independent compliance reporting. 17. How does Fabric manage service principals? Service principals registered in Entra ID assigned to workspaces or items for automated access. Used for pipeline execution, gateway authentication, and application embedding. Scoped permissions prevent overprivilege compared to user accounts. Certificate-based authentication supported for enhanced security. 18. How does Fabric integrate security with Power BI? Power BI inherits Fabric Workspace, Item RBAC and RLS for reports and semantic models. Sensitivity labels propagate to Power BI exports and embedded content. Direct Lake applies OneLake security uniformly to semantic model queries. App workspaces and domains organize governed Power BI content distribution. 19. How does Fabric support compliance requirements? Certifications include ISO, SOC, GDPR, HIPAA, and FedRAMP High for regulated industries. Purview Compliance Manager maps controls and generates reports for audits. Data residency and sovereignty options with regional capacities and CMK. Immutable audit trails and retention policies meet regulatory record keeping. 20. How does Fabric handle data loss prevention? Purview DLP policies block sharing or export of labeled sensitive data. Endpoint DLP integration prevents exfiltration via copy, paste, or screenshots. Sensitivity label actions restrict forwarding or printing of protected content. Activity alerts notify administrators of potential policy violations. 21. How does Fabric manage credential storage? Credentials stored encrypted in Fabric using Microsoft managed keys with no direct access. Connections use OAuth 2, managed identities, or service principals to avoid password exposure. Azure Key Vault integration for pipeline secrets and connection strings. Credential scanning prevents accidental hardcoding in notebooks or scripts. 22. How does Fabric enforce governance policies? Tenant settings centrally control features like external sharing, workspace creation, and power by embedding. Domains group related workspaces with consistent policies and ownership. Deployment pipelines enforce staged promotions with approval gates. Purview Governance Portal provides unified view of policies and compliance status. 23. How does Fabric manage cross-workspace security? Shared semantic models allow secure consumption across workspaces without data movement. Item-level permissions enable read-only access to artifacts in other workspaces. Cross-workspace shortcuts virtualize data with inherited security. Audit logs aggregate actions across workspaces for centralized monitoring. 24. How does Fabric secure real-time analytics workloads? Event streams and EventHouse inherit workspace RBAC with private endpoint support. Row, column level security in KQL filters streaming data dynamically. Managed identities secure ingestion from protected sources. Network isolation prevents unauthorized access to real-time pipelines. 25. What are best practices for Fabric security design? Implement least privilege RBAC using groups, item-level overrides, and service principals for automation. Enable MFA, conditional access, and private endpoints. Classify data early with purview scanning. Use fixed identity for RLS in Direct Lake. Integrate Key Vault for secrets and CMK for encryption. Regularly review permissions, monitor audit logs, and align policies with compliance frameworks. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you prepare for your Microsoft Fabric interview, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your network. Don't forget to subscribe to ZoomInData and hit the bell icon for more in-depth data engineering, analytics, and cloud technology interview prep videos every week. Drop your questions or topic requests in the comments. Let's zoom in on your success together.